Thank you both today. I think, look, it has been very hard for everyone, and, you know, for survivors, I think this seems to be going on and on and on, and I would have said it even to the department. I mean, timing is crucial now. The survivors are not getting any younger, and I know us as a committee have a duty of care, and I think it is important that we get this through as soon as possible, and that there is a balance, that, you know, the survivors are happy with this. And we spoke about the enhanced medical cards, and I know Mary Lou, again, you're the only second Mary Lou I know, just to be clear, when you spoke in your opening statement, you know, about you interviewed 561 survivors, and I know the enhanced medical card is such a big issue. But again, we need to make sure we work on this, and I suppose, again, clarification on it is so important. But for me, when I read your opening statement, I think the thing that really stood out for me was primary harm of the loss of the mother-child bond. And that really, to me, was one of the things that just stood out, because that you can, as a mother, you can totally, and I can totally see, you know, where that statement is coming from. And just, you know, when, you know, I mean, you would have heard all the stories, and look, we ourselves as a committee have heard so much stories, and we're all heartbroken from the survivors. If you had to pick 2 or 3 key messages or key issues you feel that the department should look at, what would they be? And another area that I feel that we spoke about counselling, and we spoke about counselling for survivors, but I spoke about counselling also, and you have this in your report, for family members. I think that is going to be so important, and I think, you know, that's something that we really also need to address. I mean, I've gone through, you know, all your different what you've wrote from your report, and I just want to say, look, you know, your work has absolutely been excellent. And, you know, even when you spoke about survivors want assistance with a personal, maybe an advocate or social worker, and, you know, these are things that should be delivered. I mean, the department said to us today it's an 800 million funding scheme. And, you know, we have to make sure now that this scheme, you know, is there for our survivors and for, you know, families and survivors that have really been affected from this. So maybe you might just come back to me on those. And just to go to Dr. O'Byrne too, I just want to thank you. I suppose for me, when your opening statement was when you said mother and baby homes have been a profoundly harmful experience for many women. Indeed, we cannot separate maternal experience from baby's experience, given how important and intertwined the relationships are. And again, like, that is something, again, is so important here, that we now have to, we can never make anything right, but we can try. And I think, again, you said it in your last statement here, when you said this bill offers the potential to be a moment of repair in the lives of generations of families who were and continue to be impacted by the impact of the mother and baby homes. And again, I absolutely think that this is so important, and I want to thank you and thank you all for your excellent work. And again, this has been very touching for us, because we know ourselves what is in this is so important, and we need to try and do our best to see what we can do. And again, thank you. So if you want to, maybe Mary Lou, if you'd like to come back in. Thank you, and thank you, Dr. O'Byrne.
So in relation to the 3 things that I think, you know, that the survivors would want to see, because I'd have to go back to what they had expressed, and I think the overriding one is the use of the duration of stay as a criteria for children, and also for the medical card. Many of the medical issues that arose for women happened at the point of birth, and as has been explained to us here today, the impact on children starts from pre-birth.
Yeah, pre-birth, yeah.
So I think that would have to be the primary one. The survivors also expressed the harm that would be done if there were different groups identified over others, that it would be divisive to their community. And they took great solidarity from being together in the consultations, and the solidarity of the survivor community is hugely important to them. And so that is another reason why the 6-month cut-off is very problematic. It's divisive and could be damaging in that way. The trauma-informed counselling would have to be the other. It was again and again and again referred to as one of the overriding needs that survivors requested, and that the HSE counselling service wasn't designed to work with trauma at that level,
Yeah.
and so that they were asking for that, and that would be the focus on having trauma trained staff and an informed process in the administration was deemed to be equally as important in that respect. I think that the other item I would talk about is to provide the emotional support and administrative support to applicants by way of a personal advocate or a personal case worker who would work with them, because many of the survivors just simply express the need for that type of assistance in going through the bureaucratic application process. Though it will be simple, nonetheless they do need emotional supports.
Yeah, perfect. And just one other thing I see also in 2.6, in terms of accountability, survivors stress the importance of religious orders' contribution financially. That was another issue that the survivors I see here in your statement as well. So,
well, again, that comes back to accountability.
Yeah,
and
accountability.
under the human rights approach, that it's very important that survivors are heard.
yes.
And once they're heard, that the accountability then is given by those who are accountable, and
Yeah,
they see
yeah.
that the religious orders, it's a demonstration of their accountability.
No, just it's. Thank you so much. Yeah,
You're
no,
very
thank you.
Just to come back at a few points that you made as well in terms of development, and I suppose what comes to mind is we can't press pause on people's development. The issues that are here now are live and are happening as a result of earlier experiences. The other piece is around intergenerational trauma, and I suppose the impact of trauma across generations, and that is something that is well researched and known in terms of, if trauma is not repaired in a generation, it has the opportunity then to influence the next. And that's where I suppose it is certainly advisable and welcome that family members would be included in that regard. And just in relation to the trauma-informed supports and interventions, I suppose there are well-established principles about how to have survivors included in the design of those schemes, but also having a range of therapeutic options that fit, I suppose, the person's experience. Talking therapy will not be an option and will not be suitable for all survivors from this scheme. We need approaches that are also somatic or body orientated in their approaches, and that would be around the repair from the early trauma that I spoke about. So having those range of options included in schemes is advisable in terms of counselling.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. Thank you.